Today, we're talking about why folks retire in Moscow, Idaho. You're right, Moscow is not a destination town with 70-degree weather year-round. On the surface, it seems like there's little reason to retire in Moscow. But what I'm about to tell you might just change that perspective a bit, because locals who retire here have some pretty compelling reasons for making their choice to spend their golden years in Moscow. We'll talk about how Moscow's size and growth are major reasons retirees are attracted to Moscow, what makes the recreation around here so good for seniors, and the big one, the number one reason that makes retirees set their sights on Moscow. I'm Chris Carpenter. I've lived in Moscow for over a decade. Professionally, I'm a real estate agent for the last 10 years, which means that I'm talking to Moscow residents and people moving to the area every single day. So I know Moscow super well. First up, the retirees looking to slow down and enjoy life often find themselves looking at living in a small town to exchange the gridlock traffic and overwhelming nature of big cities for a small, peaceful, and comfortable pace of life. But here's the kicker. Finding a town that's not too small and not too big is pretty tough. Too small and you don't have enough amenities, and life actually gets harder. Too big and you end up keeping the big city problems. In Moscow, you almost have the best of both worlds. It's a small town of around 26,000 people. At the same time, we have a surprising number of amenities for the population. On top of that, unless there are some huge changes, Moscow isn't going to sprawl out anytime soon. There's more to it than just this, but the short story is that Moscow simply can't sprawl. Farmers own all of the surrounding farm fields, and for them, there's no reason or desire to develop because it's their livelihood and part of their legacy. So Moscow will likely stay a small town for a long time, and if small town life is what you're looking for, that's good news. Even though it's a small town, Moscow actually has a number of independent senior living neighborhoods scattered throughout the town. One cool side note that you might not know about is that Idaho doesn't tax you on your Social Security benefits, so keep that in your back pocket too. Moscow really is a family-oriented town, and that doesn't just include young families. It means the entire family. And even though Moscow strikes a great balance between small town living while still having everything you need for day-to-day life and then some, all of that doesn't hold a candle to the next one, which is hands down the number one reason people retire in Moscow. Moscow is home to the University of Idaho and New St. Andrews College. What does that have to do with retirees? Usually what happens is that many students come for higher education, end up falling in love with this area and staying. The first child will come to school in Moscow, then the next, and so on until all the kids are in and around Moscow. The kids start families of their own, and it's not long after that the parents end up following their kids and settling down in Moscow to be closer to their families. And that's the biggest reason why retirees end up moving to and staying in Moscow. It's a huge deal to a lot of families that grandma and grandpa can participate in their kids' lives all the way from kindergarten to college graduation. This is one of the coolest things I've been able to witness here in Moscow, and you don't find it everywhere else. And when I say participate, I mean participate actively, because the third reason for retirees to move here has to do with the outdoors. We've talked about how beautiful the Moscow area is in a lot of other videos. It's true. There's just nothing else quite like it. For retirees, the real benefit of recreation in and around Moscow is how accessible it is. Moscow is designed that way on purpose too. It's a multi-generational spirit coming out in real, practical ways. If you love the outdoors and like to stay active, but don't want anything too extreme, you will absolutely love it here. And that ties into the previous point too. Having accessible recreation here in town and even more options as you go 10, 20, 30 minutes out means you have plenty of opportunities to arrange grandkid adventures for some of the sweetest memories you could make. If you're thinking about Moscow as a possible retirement option, let me know. This is my number. Feel free to text or call me. I'm happy to talk more about Moscow with you. or if you want to keep watching more about Moscow, either of these two videos will be a great resource for you.